So as you come down to your mat there, let's just take just a couple minutes to find an easy breath. It's a really nice way to start your day, is just checking into how that breath feels. It can give you an idea of maybe just a little underlying stress or not, or any barriers to that easy inhale and that easy exhale. Pay attention to where your inhale comes from. We want it to come from the belly, the side body, the rib cage, the back. Nice, easy breath. Noticing your exhale. And see if you can just lengthen that a little bit more. The exhale is where we access the stillness and the more quiet aspect of our nervous system. That's why you might find yourself with a long sigh when something feels a little overwhelming or kind of big to you. And just kind of notice. So, the simplest form of a meditation, a mindfulness practice, is just to reflect and observe your breath. So, take your biggest breath yet. So, large, full, complete inhale, and a really long, full, complete exhale. And on your next inhale, we'll just hug your knees into chest. So give them a nice hug here. You can just relax your ankles, relax your feet. You can rock and roll a little bit from side to side. Just notice how your lower back feels. Adjust your knees a little closer, a little wider to what feels good to you. And just make sure your shoulders are down away from your ears. The back of your neck is long. Try and keeping your lower back onto the mat. And just a little bit of rock and roll. Good. Come to stillness. Give those knees as big a squeeze towards the chest as you can. Maybe even lift your head, curling up into that little ball. Flex your feet. And then exhale down. We'll take a nice inhale and we'll lengthen the left leg long down to the mat. Give the right knee a hug in towards your chest. So just explore what both the front of the left hip feels like and the groin of the right foot. My left foot and my right foot are flexed. As I inhale, I reach out through the left heel for length and exhaling to soften the right knee to chest. Try and keep that left pelvis, that left hip anchored to the mat. And just explore there. If that's too much at all in the hips, you just bend the left knee. Now we'll take the outside of the right leg with your left hand. We'll just shift your hips and we'll draw the right knee across the body into a twist. Just adjust your shoulders a little bit so you're comfortable. Adjust the position of the leg as well. Your right arm can come to a T if that's available, palm up to the sky. Back of the neck nice and long. And then just think of breathing into that right side body and lengthening through the spine. So the tendency is to want to arch the back and lift the chest. And ideally just draw the rib cage down and into the body and lengthen the spine. And that'll really help in terms of any tension through the long spinal muscles. Notice what you notice across the outside of the right hip. You can gently place your left hand on the outside of the right knee, drawing it towards the floor if you want to increase the length across the right hip. Now either staying here or you can straighten that right knee a little further to get into the hamstrings a little bit more, length through the IT band. Make sure you can stay there while you still have breath. Good. Now we're just going to roll all the way onto the left side of the body. Just square up your shoulders there. Hips and knees are bent to 90 degrees and stacked as best you can. Hands are out in front of you. So palm to palm, 90 degrees. You might want a little pillow or something under your head. Or I guess you could put that left hand under your head if you want. We're just going to make a big circle with that right arm. So I'm tracing a real nice circle with the right arm, all the way up and overhead, opening through the body as I do so. I get a nice lengthening of the pecs. And I'm trying not to move through my lower back too much. You might feel a little bit of movement, but most of that movement should be through the shoulder girdle and the upper back. And again, just the range of motion that it's available to you. Good. And coming back to our starting point, where both hands are out in front. And then we're just going to roll the upper body back, bring the right arm across the body into a T and find a twist here. You can adjust those knees and hips and draw them up a little bit closer towards your left armpit if that's okay. You can adjust your upper body so that more of the chest faces the ceiling. Try and keep those knees stacked. You'll find that your top knee will want to shimmy back. Try and keep them stacked as best you can, and that gives you some nice length across the right hip and pelvis as well. Don't be alarmed if that right shoulder just can't get to the floor. I know mine's a few inches away here, but I'm trying to gently just draw that right shoulder down and keep that shoulder away from my ear. Again, lengthen through the spine by softening the front ribs into the body and reaching out through the tailbone. Let's unwind that. Come all the way back to your back. Straighten out on your mat and just do a few windshield wipers here. So just from side to side. Just notice what you notice. Good. Coming back up through center. Inhale, hug knees to chest. Straighten the right leg long. Let's lengthen the right leg as best you can. If it is too much, you can certainly bend the knee. Flex both feet, draw your shoulders away from your ears, lengthen the back of the neck, and just exhale to draw the left knee closer to chest. Try and keep that right side anchored, connected, and with length in the mat. Still connecting to breath to allow you to find your optimal movement within the pose. Let's take the outside of the left knee with the right hand, and let's draw that left knee across the body into your twist. Adjust as you need. Left hand can be to a T, back of the neck long, and then start to lengthen through the spine. Adjust the left leg as you need to, a little lower, a little higher, and you can anchor that knee down with your right hand. Very gentle. If this was too much, you could always put a pillow under your left knee, a yoga block. Again, if you have some tension in that left groin, I know I can feel that here, I'm just going to think of softening again through the back of the left hip and almost imagining that left hip bone rolls back. Again, length through the spine helps take pressure off the front. And just breathing there. Really notice if you're holding on anywhere. And try and use that exhale to find some more softness. Either staying here or you can straighten that left knee a little bit. So I'm kicking that leg out straight. And then again, just trying to roll back through the left hip and soften the body towards the mat, the upper body. Let's roll all the way onto our right side. Hands in front, knees are bent at 90 degrees, hips are bent at 90 degrees. You can either take your right hand underneath for a pillow or both hands out in front. We're going to trace that big circle, seeing if you can connect hand to carpet or hand to the floor. And try not to move too much through your lower back. Think about reaching for as big a circumference as is available. And do allow your upper back, your chest to move congruent with that arm circle. So you don't have to isolate it to only the shoulder. You can let your body move with that. Just exploring what that feels like. Let's do one more of those. Good. And then we'll stack again. Just regrouping here, and then we'll peel that left arm across the body into a bit of a twist as well. So palms are up, hands are just below shoulder height in a T. I'm trying to stack the knees as best I can, but I find that's a bit restricted. So I'm going to try and stay connected through the knees, and that makes my left shoulder pop up. That's okay. I'll just use my breath to try and soften that down. Again, most of the twist comes from up here and then below. We want to maintain that length of the lower back. Twisting in the lower back isn't kind of a thing, not a good thing anyways. So just breathing there. Let's roll back onto our back. Notice what we notice here. Let's draw those knees into the chest, a little rock and roll. Now we're going to come into tabletop. So if you'd like, you can roll all the way up first, or you can just roll to your side, however we want to do that. I'm going to practice that reverse burpee so we can rock and roll. Come all the way up and then back into tabletop. Awesome. So once we're in tabletop, you can tuck your toes or untuck them. Draw your shoulders away from your ears, and you want lots of length between your wrist and your shoulder. So we want to make sure we're not just kind of hanging out in the shoulders, really press into the palms. Moving through cat and cow, kind of our standard. So we'll inhale, arch the spine, really lift from the tailbone rather than just dumping into the lower back. And exhaling, rounding and finding length through the lower back, really tucking the tail now, letting the head hang. Inhale, draw the shoulders down, lift the tailbone, really try and arch through the upper back, the middle back, and the tailbone. And then reversing that and really rounding again through the lower back. I try and pull the ribs into the body, very active core, tucking the tailbone between the knees, pressing through my palms. One more, inhaling, rolling shoulders back. Good, exploring that. And then exhaling, head hangs. Good. Now we're going to come into Sphinx here. Sarah, if it's more comfortable for you, you can come into Child's Pose, and I'll talk you through what's in Child's Pose. So Sphinx is all the way down onto your tummy with your forearms down. And I actually bring my forearms, my elbows just a little bit ahead of the shoulders. So instead of stacked underneath, we let the elbows drift ahead a little. Forearms are parallel and palms are down. As best you can, untuck your toes. Now in the Sphinx pose, Think about pulling the shoulders down and then reaching into that middle back and reaching forward. So you want to see if you can take this movement out of your lower back. If it's too much, relax a bit, but see if you can really create some length. So I'm almost pressing down into my forearms a little bit to lift through the chest. And Sarah, I want you to think almost like the opposite. Relax the chest to the floor and soften through the rib cage. Now, while we're here, we're just going to look over the right shoulder, and you can allow yourself a little twist. And then look over the left shoulder, allow a little twist. So I'm just grooving through the shoulder girdles a little, and I'm getting some side bend rotation of the spine. So just kind of noticing. Good. And then let's all meet in child's pose, just to give your lower back a little bit of a reprieve. And Sarah, just come back up into tabletop and just cycle through a few cat and cows. The rest of us will be in child's pose and just thinking of length through the lower back after that extension. Toes can be tucked or untucked, heels and hips connect as best as you can. One more deep breath here. And then exhale. Let's rock up to our hands and knees. We're going to come up into our downward dog. So toes are tucked, shoulders down. Take a nice inhale and lift those hips to the ceiling. Adjust your downward dog as you need to. You make it a little longer, a little shorter. Keep the heels up a little bit, bend the knees. Really draw those biceps towards the ears by turning out at the shoulders. Root into your index finger and your thumb. And just let your hips float back as you reach your chest towards your thighs. Pedal the feet. Notice the length in the calves. All the way up into the hamstrings. So still reaching the sits bones and your tailbone towards the ceiling. Now we're going to shift forward into plank as we inhale, and we're going to roll onto a side plank. So on your hand, if you can certainly have the bottom knee down if you like. So we're onto our right side plank. Take a nice breath here. And then we're going to take that left foot forward and plant it on the floor perpendicular. So we're in this kind of twisty side plank. We're going to roll the shoulders back, lift the bottom hip, and take that left hand to the ceiling. So really root down into that left foot and stay on the pinky side foot. Otherwise, you can certainly drop the knee. So here's knee down position. Nice lengthening of that top left glute and lots of strength of your core and your right side body. Let's take that left hand to the mat, unwind back into your downward dog. Pedal your feet a little here. Inhale, shift forward plank. Roll onto that left hand, side plank. Good. And then take that right knee up and right foot planted. Now you want to kind of roll down to the mat. See if you can still press into your left hand and find that true side plank. Again, drop that bottom knee if you like. That is just fine. Take that right hand to the ceiling. So we really want to lift the bottom hips, press and root into that right foot. Find width across the chest. So you can almost think of a top of a bridge, so squeeze your bum a little. Take another breath here. And exhale, roll down and back into your downward dog. Good. We're going to come knees down again. Let's take that left leg out to the side. So I'm rooted into that left leg. My pinky side of the foot's connected as best I can. If that's too tight, you can certainly bend that left knee because it'll get a long length through the inner hamstring and inner thigh. From here, we're just going to gently rock back. Rocking forward, rocking back. Try and make sure your spine stays long. Minimize the arch in your lower back. And just kind of notice what you notice here. So there should be some nice integrity or connection in your left leg. So you don't want it 100% passive. I'm still pressing that left foot into the floor. And I almost feel a little bit of deep core pelvic floor connection here. Really nice length for the inner thigh and the hamstring. Okay, let's bring that leg back in and we'll go to the other side. So connect as you rock back. And I'm using my hands to push and pull to a degree. I'm rooted down into the mat. Trying to keep the spine long, the pelvis level. And just lots of breath through there. If you'd rather hang out at the end of range just for a breath, you can. Otherwise, just gently move in and out of the pose. Good. Let's take that knee back in. We're back to tabletop. Reset your foundation. Inhale, down dog. Take a nice breath here. And then we're going to walk our hands to meet, or walk our feet rather, to meet our hands in a forward fold. So just generously bend the knees, let the head hang, and just kind of notice what you notice here. Take a nice breath in, find a little bit more of an exhale and a fold. And then on your next inhale, we're just going to roll all the way up to standing. We'll do one more standing pose here. And then somehow it's already 5 to 7. So make sure you're nice and rooted on your right foot. And we're going to cross, ooh, here we go, cross the left ankle over the thigh as best you can. So you're going to need to work your balance here. You can certainly hang on to something if you want to change position. And then what we're going to do from here is we're going to place the hands on the leg and try and find a little bit of a bend forward here. So it's really tough on my balance, but it will also give me some length to the glute. So I'm almost in like a little mini figure 4 and a fold. Now the full expression of this pose, which is not available to me, is we fold and we touch the floor with our hands. So again, not available to me. Let's see if you can find that position for 1 or 2 more breaths. That looks lovely, Steph. And then come on back up and shake that out. So probably easiest done where you're holding on to something, but a nice balance challenge all the same. So root onto your left foot, cross the right knee over the, or the right ankle rather, over the top of the thigh. Find your balance best you can. You can certainly anchor by holding on to the leg and then trying to keep symmetrical. We bend and fold. And for me, the balance challenge is as much as the mobility challenge here. And that's cool. And this side's a little better, so I can take those hands towards the mat here. I can kind of get into that left side enough to bend. So that's more like the full expression of the pose. And then we'll peel back up. You can play around with that. So just shake those legs out. That looks nice, Sarah. And then let's bring our feet wide. Let's come into our Malasana. So hands to heart center. Exhale, come all the way down. Just spend a few breaths in our Malasana here. So the things to think about while you're in this deep squat is letting your sits bones go wide, letting your tailbone float, So we don't want the tailbone too tucked under here. We want to think of almost anchoring our whole body down and into the pelvis, but thinking of lifting the chest just a little bit. As you lift the chest, let the bum sink down further. Good. We'll take our bum down to the mat here, and we'll roll all the way back down. Once you're there, give your knees a hug into the chest, a little rock and roll. And then let's weave our hands on the inside of the knees, the outside of the feet for our happy baby. And wherever you can hang on. So whether it's the pinky side to the feet, whether it's the outside of the shins, whether even it's just the outside of the knees and nice and wide. You could also use a strap here if you wanted, putting the strap around the ball of the foot and holding on. But just see what that feels like. Again, opening up through the groin, the inner thigh, the hamstrings. Perfect. Place those feet down to the mat. Snuggle your heels towards your bum. Roll your shoulders back and pull your shoulder blades together. Knees are bent, feet are connected to the mat. We'll take a nice inhale, lift your hips, squeeze your bum, bridge pose. Lengthen through that front body. Take a nice deep breath in here. And then exhale, lower down. We'll move into our Shavasana now for just a couple minutes, unless there's anything else you'd prefer to do beforehand. And just find a comfortable position where you can just spend a couple minutes sealing your practice, reconnecting to your breath. Notice what you notice in your body. Maybe with that movement this morning, you've highlighted a couple spots that might need a little more TLC later today. Especially notice if you find there's a lot of tension in your lower back or your hips. That would definitely benefit from a little more mobility. With a lot of sitting, it's always nice to add in some lying on your tummy. It just allows some gentle length through the front body that it stays shortened if we're sitting, working away on a tablet or laptop. So easy full breaths in, long full breaths out. Make your next inhale more full from the belly, the side body, the back body, all the way to the throat. And then your longest, fullest exhale yet. When you're ready, just roll onto your left-hand side, curl up into a little ball. That nice fetal position, that safe, tucked into the body position. And just again, now's a nice time to just connect once more to your breath and maybe set an intention for today. I think I'm going to set a patience intention. See if I can grant myself and my family a little more patience today. When you're ready, let's roll up into your cross-legged seated position or any seated position you're comfortable with. We'll meet here. Lovely. We'll take our hands to heart center. We'll take a nice inhale. Exhale, close your eyes, bow your head. From my light to yours, namaste. Thanks, everyone. You all good?
Thanks.
Thanks,
That
Jen.
was awesome.
Great
Every
way to
Tuesday
start
morning,
the
I
day.
think, is anyone going to get up? So thank you for getting up with me. This is great. This is
Never
great.
done yoga before. That was a first.
You've never done yoga before. Thank you for coming, especially early yoga. Eh? There we go.
Well, try to beat the baby.
Yeah, definitely. I know. I'm just starting to hear rumblings upstairs, so this is good timing. Yeah.
Thanks, Jen.
Have an awesome day.
You
Have a
too.
great day soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.